America is a nation that was built on perseverance and strength of will. If we all of a sudden decided to forego all of the values instilled in us through the work done by our founding fathers, we would only be as good as a nation founded by someone other than Jesus. America, the onus is on us to ensure that our values are preserved and not thrown in the garbage like some confused prom date's newborn. The shift of power to left-leaning liberals who find it sporty to mutilate the Constitution has spawned a movement more powerful than a 9-iron to the head from Mrs. Tiger Woods herself. But what they forgot to realize is this: Jesus wrote the Constitution and created America for a reason, and as tax-paying citizens, we have the inherent obligation to fight for his cause. Nation, we're now at a juncture that forces each and every one of us to choose a side. One of these sides is fighting for the preservation of the U.S. Constitution and everything our founding fathers fought for. And the other side is fighting to diminish our wholesome, fundamental democratic standards. I know that those of you with us today, along with the people watching at home, know exactly what evil conglomerate I'm referring to, and it's tonight's word: vampires. Ever since our great nation has had to bear the presence of this new sinful vampire fad, the country has steadily been forced into relinquishing fundamentally American values. Who would have known that a group of handsome, undead, bloodthirsty vampires could rattle this great nation to its very core? Keep in mind, I do realize that you're probably asking yourself, what the hell is he talking about? Hear me out on this one, America. The correlation, my friends, between this facade of a Harry Potter impersonation coming in the form of not one, but two Twilight movies, and the steady decline of democracy in our nation cannot be ignored. First, the catastrophic election of our current terrorist of a President Barack Obama came only 17 days before the Twilight movie was released in the theaters. Coincidentally, the second installment of this American murdering series, New Moon, was released on November 20th, 2009, a mere 12 days after the disastrous and definitive de-democratization of our country's healthcare policy. Folks, Congress passing this supposed new healthcare bill is the beginning of the end. Listen, we all know what happened when those evil teen heartthrobs, the Hanson brothers, broke onto the pop scene. They tried to kill America. The Hanson brothers were a symbol of everything that was wrong with this great country at the time. In the midst of this blonde-haired invasion, we ended up all finding out that the only remedy that could fix this problem of the Hanson brothers in the late 90s was, you guessed it, George W. Bush. The second presidential installment via the Bush family truly showed this country what democracy is all about. Just think, if our 43rd president, Congress, and the United States military didn't have the resolve to invade Iraq and oust Saddam Hussein, we would be living in a country where people like Vice President Joe Biden would, well, be president. Vice President Biden was recently quoted by those fascists at the New York Times Magazine saying, "Other presidents I've worked with, they viewed Congress as almost as a constitutional impediment. You know? No, Joe, I don't know. Why don't you stop playing the let's see who in the executive branch has the reddest face game and get back to doing your job?" George Bush could have never bravely marched on in the war against terrorism if it were not for the courageous congressional support he was given. Also, those brave legislators in Congress, along with our bad ass of a president, not only proved to the world that America will welcome nuclear holocaust before negotiating with any kind of Arabian terrorism, we showed those damn vampires, or in this case the Hanson brothers, that democracy is here to stay. The only way that we're going to be able to combat this vampire problem now is if we elect a president with some real substance. Not to mention, it would be nice to enjoy once again the fruits of having a president I truly just want to get plastered with. Which reminds me, the only liquid I think Barack Obama could drink more of than George W. Bush is human blood. No wonder why these Twilight kids are so popular. The American people seem to have an increasingly high regard for bloodsuckers nowadays. But I digress. If the American people as a majority do not fix this vampire problem, then our only hope in these dark times, I'm sorry to say, is the Holy Bible. Because Lord knows, if democracy can't win out on its own, our imaginations will Jesus the living hell right out of those vampires. And that's tonight's word. The only way we're going to be able to combat this vampire problem now is if we elect a president with some real substance. Not to mention, it would be nice to enjoy once again the fruits of having a president I truly just want to get plastered with. Which reminds me, the only liquid I think Barack Obama could drink more of than George W. Bush is human blood. No wonder why these Twilight kids are so popular. The American people seem to have an increasingly high regard for bloodsuckers nowadays. But I digress. If the American people as a majority don't fix this vampire problem, then our only hope in these dark times, I'm sorry to say, is the Holy Bible. Because Lord knows, if democracy can't win out on its own, our imaginations will Jesus the living hell right out of those vampires. And that's tonight's word.
You want to do it again?
Yeah, I'll do it.